Good morning, it's Shanna. I'm going to try something different this week. Please forgive my iPad over here. I want to do a spread that I sort of created. We'll get into that in just a second. I wanted to I've been considering doing a series kind of centered around women in their 40s, their 50s, probably right around in there. I'm 48 and we'll just put it out there. Perimenopause is a real thing. And I'm struggling to find anything of like real substance anywhere that talks about it in kind of a real way. And I know there are books, there's like random stuff out there on the internet, but I wanted it to be kind of focused around tarot specifically, tarot and oracle, divinatory, self-work kind of things. So, full disclosure, I tried AI and I put in a bunch of different prompts and asked it to come up with some spreads. Obviously, I gave it the prompt. I think I came up, there were like 10 different ones that I asked it to create. Basically, I said, give me a 3-card tarot spread around, and then whatever my prompt was for that particular question. So this first one that I want to try today, we're going to be using the Herbcrafter's tarot, and mostly just because A, it sort of fits the theme, in my opinion, and B, it's my June deck. So that's the one I'm using mostly right now. Okay, so the first spread that I want to do, and I'm thinking I might make this, I don't know if I'm going to do weekly, because I try to stick to just one video, so maybe monthly I'll do these. I'm not sure what I'm going to call the series. Something around matriarchy. A few months ago, I made a different video, and I'll try to link that either below or up in the cards somewhere, about my matriarchy decks. And I know that word I know the word means something specific, and it's not quite, that definition is not quite what I'm using it as, but it's the way I associate with it. So, that being said, the first tarot spread is Transition of Perimenopause. So, I feel like you can potentially use this, actually, not even potentially. I think you can use this as like a period spread as well, changing some of the language a little bit. So the first card is Bodily Changes. The second is Emotional Landscape. Third is Needs for Self-Care. And 4 is Wisdom Emerging. So I definitely feel like you can use this during any stage of your life. And I mean, I guess if you're a guy and you're going through like physical changes of some kind, you could also use this, though I imagine, generally speaking, this is going to be more appealing for the those of us who have periods or have had periods. So anyway, that all being said, yeah, that's where we're going to go. So I will say, so AI tends to sort of give a long description for each of these card positions. So in my own words, I tried to make it more concise. So I am going to try, and most of these, it looks like I've got like 2 sentences, and I didn't want to edit them because I like the way they sound on here, but for the point of the video, that might sound a little bit trite, I guess. So if it sounds trite, I apologize. I will try to kind of cut back a little bit on the verbiage so it's not quite so that. Anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Like I said, it's the Herbcrafter's Tarot. This is by Joanna Powell Colbert, written by Letitia Guthrie. So, all right. So maybe I will say what each position means before I get into the spread, and then as we go, I'll reiterate. Okay. So the first one is Bodily Changes. It says the first card represents the physical symptoms, bodily shifts, and hormonal fluctuations the woman is experiencing during her perimenopausal transition. This could relate to hot flashes, changes in menstrual cycle, sleep issues, etc. And again, you can change the verbiage here. Hormonal fluctuations you're experiencing during your the days leading up to your period, or your, what is the word that I'm looking for? You know, the time of the month when you can get pregnant. What is that word? Well, if I think of it, I'll put it on the screen. You know what I'm talking about, and if you don't, we'll Google it. Anyway, the next one is emotional landscape. This position symbolizes the psychological, emotional, and mental state brought about by the perimenopausal phase. It may speak to mood swings, feeling of loss, anxiety, identity crisis, or other inner turbulence. The third is needs for self-care. The third card illuminates which self-nurturing practices, support systems, or coping strategies will be most beneficial for the woman to navigate this transition with a greater ease and equilibrium. The fourth is the final card signifies the spiritual lesson, deeper meaning, or personal growth potential. Or personal growth potential contained within the perimenopausal. Oh my God. Okay. Should we just start number 4 over again? The final card signifies the spiritual lessons, deeper meaning, or personal growth potential contained within the perimenopausal experience for this woman to embrace her authenticity and feminine power. And then it kind of gives kind of a summary, which I thought was kind of nice, especially if maybe you're doing this reading for someone else who's not quite sure if they want this particular spread. It says this thoughtful tarot spread creates a gentle space to honor the challenges of the perimenopausal transition while tapping into the opportunities for self-discovery, healing, and transformation seated within this profound rite of passage. So, like I said, it's a little bit wordy. Obviously, changing the words around. I liked using this as a base because I don't know about you guys, but I tend to get overwhelmed when I think, I'm going to make a spread for this idea that I have. I get overwhelmed and I think I have no idea where to start. And unless I sit down really with, some time ahead of me and I really focus and try to get into that frame of mind, I struggle to come up with spreads. So, AI, love it or hate it, I'm using it for this. Full disclosure. Anyway, let's move forward. Okay, so the first position, and honestly, for these, I actually went ahead. I'm going to ramble again for just a minute. I went ahead and made a spread journal about a year ago, and I spent some time the last couple of weeks modifying how I want everything laid out in this journal, and I had everything printed out just at Office Depot, and those are ready, so I plan on picking those up tomorrow. Once the journal is done, I will share it because I'm really, really excited with the way it turned out. That being said, any of these ones that I've put together myself, I know a lot of times people will have like a spread and it'll have like a pretty shape, or a symbol kind of symbolizing the theme of that spread. Generally speaking, I just did a line of cards. It's simple, it's straightforward. I don't have to overthink it. So that's what we're going to do today, is just a simple line of 4 cards. And okay. So first prompt, bodily changes. The first card represents the physical symptoms, bodily shifts, and hormonal fluctuations you're experiencing during your perimenopausal transition. It could relate to hot flashes, changes in menstrual cycle, and sleep issues, or etc. So, bodily changes. I will say, for the record, this is the most information I've ever put out on the internet. So, I guess if you don't like it or are offended by it, go ahead and maybe keep it to yourself. And if you feel so inclined to let me know, well, as long as it's nice / constructive, I'll keep it. But if it's mean or if it hurts my feelings, I will be deleting it. Let's just put it that way. because I don't have the mental capacity to hold on to that kind of thing. So, all right, bodily changes. I think, now that I've done that, what I think I'm going to do in the interest of time, I'm going to shuffle 3 more times and spread them out, and then I will just choose one card from it, because I'm going to go with the idea that this isn't specific to me. This reading won't be specific to me, because that's a little weird for me. Yeah, and then that way we can just kind of read it. You can see how it plays out, and we can go from there. Feels a little too personal. Okay. So let's spread these guys out. All right, first one is Bodily Changes. This one, goodness. Hello. Okay, excuse me. I'm telling you I would like you. Okay, thank you. Emotional landscape. I'm feeling like this one because it was pretty determined to come out at the same time. Needs for self-care. Again, I'm going to go with this guy here. And then wisdom emerging. I'll fix this in a moment. Wisdom emerging. I'm going to go with this one. Okay. Let's get these out of the way. And I will try to zoom in here as long as I can get everything still in the frame. Do you guys like to fix your cards so that they're nice and straight before you read? Oh, look at that. A YouTube video just came up. Okay. How's that? Guess we're a little off center here, but that's okay. Okay. First one. Bodily Changes, the Devil, Blackberry. So let's kind of get into the guidebook, since that's what we're doing. And I love this deck. Obviously, you know, if it's a quick reading, I can definitely just lean into the RWS meanings. But part of what drew me to this deck a second time, because I did rehome it and then repurchase, is the guidebook. So we may as well utilize that. All right, I am not going to read. I think what I'll do is I will hold this here. You guys can pause to read. I'm going to pause the video and take a moment to read, and then I will be right back. Okay, after reading this, what I would say, based on what I read in the guidebook, for this card, because it speaks a lot of the blackberry brambles, the thorns, ensnaring, trapping, which obviously leans into the devil, right? I would say for bodily changes, this is saying you've got to learn how to let go of what was and embrace what is and what will be. Which, I mean, I don't know about you, if you're going through this phase of your life, that's definitely, you know, kind of a key aspect, is that kind of that mourning for the realization that what was our body, it, you know, is kind of coming to the end of that phase, right? Motherhood, the capability of motherhood. And, you know, at 48, my body is changing. It's going through some weird things that I'm just like, I don't love, I'm irritated about, and trying to navigate how to embrace those changes and also take back some of the control, because obviously, you know, it's our body. We can eat right, we can exercise, we can do all those things. Generally speaking, obviously people who may have health issues, that might not be their reality, but generally speaking, we do have control over our bodies to a certain degree, right? So taking back the control, holding onto the reins, and stop spiraling, you know, the negative thoughts. So that would be for bodily changes. Next is emotional landscape. This position symbolizes the psychological, emotional, and mental state brought about by the perimenopausal phase. It may speak to mood swings, feelings of loss, anxiety, identity crisis, or other inner turbulence. And that's the 9 of air. Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. Okay. Interesting. So the 9 of swords essentially is what this is. We've got... Oh, right there. Okay. 9 of air. I'll hold it there. Feel free to pause. And then I will be right back. Okay. I sort of feel like this deck is like, excuse me, you shuffled me, you asked me a question, I'm going to answer you, Shanna. I feel like this is targeting me a little bit, because this write-up in the book is very good. I won't read the whole thing, like I said, but I do want to point out, so for emotional landscape, the emotional and mental state, which, hello, Nine of Swords. A couple of things. Sag with a ripe, heavy fruit. The sun disappears and reappears. Seeds scattered to the floor. So for me, honestly, even just this first paragraph is kind of pointing to the fact that, you know, you're going to go through these mood swings. You're going to experience these things. But with every setting of the sun, you know, you also get a rising of the sun. So it's okay to go ahead and acknowledge those emotions, but also realize that things will level out again. Things will feel normal again. Letting go of what you can't control. Something's here specific. Okay, the deeper that sorrow carves into your being, the more joy you can contain. So, I feel like it's sort of saying embrace those emotions, which, you know, definitely, it's been a struggle, right? Like, again, if you're going through this, if you've been through this, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, I want to embrace the emotions, experience these years without feeling resentful, which I, you know, generally speaking, I'm kind of there. I'm constantly reminding myself, okay, like, this is normal. This is another way that my body can communicate with me, tells me that it's doing all the right things, because this is a normal thing, right? Even though it doesn't feel normal, it is normal. So it's kind of good that all of these things, you know, these X, Y, and Z things are happening, because it means that our bodies are working as they're supposed to. So go bodies, yay. But it's really hard sometimes to just embrace all this uncomfortableness. So yeah, I mean, this to me is that's very telling. I feel like there was one other thing. Yeah, you will live through shattering experiences and still stand proud. When you're ready, quench the thirst of guilt, regret, and worry, and invite in forgiveness. So again, we're kind of coming back to that. Feel your feelings. Feel free to be angry with your body. You know, have those emotions of like anger, resentment, missing the olden days, right? But then you've got to be able to come back and say, however, this is where I am, this is where I'm standing, and I want to stand on solid ground without feeling all of those things all the time. So, okay. 8 of Earth, 8 of Pentacles, which is needs for self-care. The third card illuminates which self-nurturing practices, support systems, or coping strategies will be most beneficial to you to navigate this transition with greater ease and equilibrium. So that's interesting. What practices, support systems, or coping strategies? I mean, to me, without reading the book, just the first thing that kind of jumps into my mind, and I'm sorry if you can hear my washer. For me anyway, it's coming back to this, as I've said before, I've been a stay-at-home mom, housewife, whatever, for a really, really long time. These last 3 years are the most I've held like a job, ever. So I feel like coming back to this sort of place that makes me happy, like, not like that laundry makes me happy, but my happy place is fulfilling those traditional, gross, I know, those traditional roles. I fit in there. I'm comfortable there. I know how to do this. I'm good at this. So I feel like that self-care is allowing myself to do these things and enjoy them. Such as, for example, I work 4 days and then I'm off 3 days. Technically I'm full-time, but it looks like part-time. Anyway, so on my 3 days off, I have a pretty regimented routine for myself. Wednesday morning, I dust and I clean the kitchen and 2 of our 3 bathrooms. My son cleans his. And then I tidy. So everything gets picked up, put away, you know, that kind of thing. Thursday morning, I vacuum and I mop. Wednesday and Thursday, I do all of our laundry, the towels, the clothes, all of the things. And then Friday is my real day off, right? Or if I've got appointments, sometimes I'll schedule it on that. But I try not to schedule anything for Fridays. I try to let that be my complete day off. But being able to keep that routine and have a clean home where I feel comfortable and restful in it, that, to me, that is my self-care. I'm not much of a take a bath, you know, I don't really get pedicures or manicures. I get my hair cut 3 times a year, maybe. So I'm not super self-care in that way, but self-care for me is more of just having my routines and having my home the way I like it. So for me, that is my self-care, which I like. So the 8 of Earth, 8 of Pentacles, yeah, sticking with what you're good at and sticking with what you enjoy. So, okay. Last card is Wisdom Emerging. The final card signifies the spiritual lessons, deeper meaning, or personal growth potential contained within the perimenopausal experience for you to embrace your authenticity and feminine power. So interesting. Okay, I can never remember what is the Adelita. So I have this little note here in my book. So she's the Knight. Adelita of Cups. So Knight of Cups. Wisdom, spiritual lessons, deeper meaning, or personal growth potential. Embrace authenticity and feminine power. Okay. So for me, the Knight of Cups is the idealist. The one who has the rose-colored glasses. Okay, well, let's read the book because I'm not quite sure where this one's taking us. So there's that. Feel free to pause. Okay, I feel like I'm getting a read on this, but I also feel like this would be a card I would definitely want to journal with because I feel like there's like 4 different thoughts coming in at the same time. So essentially, it's saying, you know, you need to have strong boundaries, protect your heart, but give wholly, right? Battle to protect her boundaries. So I think then what I'm getting out of this is embrace the new things that we're learning, such as spirituality, working with ancestors, and, you know, obviously I'm putting kind of a witchy lean on this because that's where I am. Embracing those practices that have been bringing me joy, and to remember that I don't necessarily need to share them with everyone, although I'm sharing them with you because you seem pretty cool, like you're here, you're still watching, so I sort of feel like the wisdom here is sort of like, what am I trying to say? Nurturing her spirit. So wisdom emerging is learning to nurture that spirit, which I guess is entirely true because I've never really considered myself a spiritual person until the last few years, which I think a lot of us that are here could probably say the same thing. And maybe taking the wisdom of our years, right? Taking those years and the wisdom that we've gained through those years and applying it to these practices. And allowing myself to honestly allow myself to look at it through rose-colored glasses. Stop trying to be so pragmatic all the time. It's okay to wear those glasses sometimes if you put them on intentionally, in my opinion. Let yourself, honestly, I think we're told so often, like, be realistic, think pragmatically, but I don't want to all the time. Sometimes I really just want to put on the rose-colored glasses and enjoy. Full stop. Okay, well, that was a really good reading. If you like this concept and you would like me to do something like this monthly, it might not look exactly like this, but I would really I want to bring in more of this energy to my space here. So if you're interested in that, or if you have ideas, I would love to hear from you. And also, hopefully, for you younger ladies, I know there's a few of you here. Hopefully you didn't hear my knuckle just crack. Hopefully you can take these readings and, play with the verbiage a little bit and be able to use it for yourself where you are. Because I don't want anybody to feel like, this isn't an exclusive thing. It's where I am, and I feel like there's not enough of it out there. So I wanted to create some of that. Anyway, with all of that being said, thank you so much for sticking around. I appreciate all of you, and I think I might be making 2 videos this week, so keep an eye out for that. And if not, then we'll see you all next week. Bye.